Okay, hello, good morning everyone. Okay, everyone, how are you today?
I'm good.
Now,
And you?
how are you today? I am
I am good.
good. And what else? I am
I am okay.
very good. All right. So what did you eat for breakfast? Did you eat your breakfast already?
I eat bread and fried chicken.
Fried chicken. All right. So our topic for today is the scientific process. Scientific process.
Obsessed.
Okay, so our subject is our subject science. Our subject is science. Okay, so let's start with the vocabulary words. Okay, you follow teacher. Let us read number 1, knowledge. Number 2, question. Number 3, gather. Number 4, orderly. Okay, number 5, measure. Number 6, tools. Number 7, design.
Design.
Again, design. Okay, number 8, experiment.
Experiment.
Number 9, temperature. Number 10, weight. Can you spell the word tools? How do you spell the word tools? Letter T. O-L-S. Very good. So those are our 10 vocabulary words for this topic today. Okay, so let's start with our topic. Okay, now open it to page 7. Are you ready, everyone? Yes. Okay, so we have here the science process skills. Okay, so what is the use of the science process skills? Okay, so we use science process skills to ask questions about scientific knowledge because they help us gather information orderly. Okay, so again, we use the science process skills to ask questions. Okay, we ask questions about the scientific knowledge because it helps us gather information orderly. So let's see. So the science process skills are when we can find the answers in the scientific way. Now, there are 2 groups of science process skills. Okay? So again, there are 2 groups of science process skills. Okay, so what are they? Okay, we have the first one is the 8 basic science process skills. So this is in group 1. Okay, so what are under the 8 basic science process skills? So let's see. Okay, so we have here the first one is using time-space relationship. Next one is inferring. Next we have observing. Next is classifying. Again, classifying. Next we have organizing data and communicating. Okay, another one is using numbers. Next we have measuring. And the last one is predicting. Okay? Again, the last one is predicting. So these are the 8 basic science process skills. Okay? So how about the second group? Okay, let's see. Okay, so there are 6 integrated science process skills. Okay, so this is the second group. So again, there are 6. Okay, so the first one is formulating hypotheses. Again, the first one is formulating hypothesis. Next, we have modeling. Again, we have here modeling. Okay, the third one is interpreting data and making conclusions. Interpreting data and making conclusions. Okay. Next, number 4, we have defining operationally. Again, defining operationally. Okay. Next, number 5, we have here identifying and controlling variables. Again, number 5, identifying and controlling variables. And the last one, number 6, we have experimenting. Okay. Again, in number 6, we have experimenting. Okay, so those are the 6 integrated science process skills. Okay, so let's further look into it. So what are these science process skills? So let us see the definition and its example. Okay, we need to learn 5 important science process skills in this level. They are, okay, so the first one is measuring skill. Okay, so what is measuring skill? Okay, so measuring is using the proper tools to find the correct number of things. So we also have to write these numbers in correct units. Okay, so there are many different measuring tools. Examples, we use rulers, meter sticks, and tape measures for finding length. We use clocks for finding time. And we use weight scales for weighing. We use thermometers for finding temperature. And we use graduated cylinder for finding how much liquid there is. Okay, so we use graduated cylinder for measuring liquid. Okay, so again, measuring skill is using the proper tools to find the correct number of things. Okay, so we have here an examples of tools. Okay, so first one, we have a tape measure. Okay, so what is the use of a tape measure? So it is used for finding a length, right? Next, we have a measuring cup. So you can also use measuring cup for measuring a liquid. Okay. Next, we have here timer. So you use timer for timing a race like that. Okay. And we have here a digital scale. Okay. So we have here examples of how we are going to use these tools. Okay. So we have Cam uses a weight scale to find her weight. Okay. So again, the weight scale, this one is used for finding weight. Okay. All right. Next, we have Hakin uses a thermometer to check the temperature. Okay, so you are going to check the temperature by using a thermometer. Okay, next, so this is the thermometer. Okay, next, the last one is Kang uses a ruler to find the length of the book. Okay, so Kang uses this ruler, the yellow ruler, to find the length of the book. Okay, so those are the examples of how we are going to use these measuring tools in order for us to find out the correct number of things we want to know. Okay, next. Next, we have here using numbers skills. Okay, so this skill where we can, this is the skill where we can count, calculate, and tell the number of things we observe or experiment. Okay, so if you have this number skill, you know how to count, calculate, and tell the number of the things you can see or the things you are experimenting. Okay, next. Okay, so we have here an example, right? Kelsai and Pakin found the total number of flowers by counting each flower and adding them up together. Okay, so Pakin, there are 4 hibiscuses. Okay, so how did Kelsai know that there are 4 hibiscuses? Very good, because she counted the flowers. She counted the hibiscuses flowers. All right. So how about Pakin? So we count all the flowers here, and there are 29 flowers. Okay, so how did Pakin know that there are 29 flowers? Because, very good, they counted them together. They counted all the flowers and add them together. Okay, right. So they add 8 roses, 5 marigolds, 4 hibiscuses, 2 lotuses, and 10 jasmines. So that's why they got 29 in total. Okay. All right. So that is how we are going to use numbers skill. Okay. Next, so after number skills, we have formulating hypothesis skill. Okay, so this is when we guess an answer to something we want to know about. Okay, so we guess an answer. Now to do that, we need to observe and use our knowledge or experience. So our answer can be either right or wrong. So we check if our answer is right by doing the experiment. Okay, so before you are going to do the experiment, you need to give or make a hypothesis first. So you are going to answer. Okay, so you are going to guess or give the possible answer to your question before you are going to do the experiment. Okay, so let's see an example of formulating a hypothesis. Okay, so ask a question. So what will happen if we water the plants every day? So this is the question or the problem that we need to answer. Okay, now we need to make a hypothesis or guess an answer. So Pakin says, I think the plants will grow taller if we water them every day. Okay, so that is the hypothesis of Pakin. Okay, so Pakin tries to guess the possible answer of the question. Okay, all right. So next one, we have here an experimenting skill. Okay, so what is experimenting skill? Okay, so this is when we design and plan our experiment to find the answer to what we know, to what we want to know about. Okay, so there are 3 steps. So first one is designing the experiment, doing the experiment, and writing your results. Okay, so again, experimenting skill is designing and planning our experiment. Okay, right. So the first one is designing an experiment. Okay, so what are we going to do here? So in here, we plan an experiment. Example, what do we need and how do we do it? Okay, so we have here a design. Okay, so we have sample experiment. Okay, sample experiment, factors that make plants to grow. Okay, and we have made a question. What will happen if we water a plant every day? Okay, that is our question. Now we have here a hypothesis. Okay, if we water a plant every day, it will grow taller. Okay, so this is a sample of designing an experiment. So we have put there the experiment, asking question in the hypothesis. Okay, so after we design an experiment, we are going to do the experiment. All right, so number 2, do the experiment step by step and use everything you have planned or that you planned. Okay, so you planned in step 1, now you are going to do it in the second step. Okay, so plant the plant using the prepared equipment. Okay, so what you have prepared, you need to use it here. Okay, and in number 2, water the plant every day at the set time. Okay, right. So that is how we are going to do an experiment. So we need to follow what we have planned in the first step. Okay. Now, the third one or the last step we have here, writing results. Okay, so write down all the data you get by observing, measuring, and counting skills. Okay, so in here, you are going to write the result. Okay, so as you can see here in the picture, Keosai is writing the result of all, she is writing all the data that she have got by observing, measuring, and counting. Okay. All right. So that is how we do writing result. Okay. Next, we have here interpreting data and making conclusions skill. Okay. So what is this? So the first one, interpreting data, is when we explain the meaning of all the data we got. Okay, so in here again, we are going to explain the meaning of all the data that we have gathered. Okay, next, making conclusions. Okay, so is when we find the relationship between all the data from observing, exploring, or doing the experiments. Okay, so again, this is when you are going to find the relationship of all the data from observing, exploring, and doing the experiment. Okay, so we have here an example. Study on factors that make plants to grow. Okay, so we have here an example of interpreting data. So after planting, we watered the plant for 80 days. The plant grew and had leaves and flowers. Okay, so that is how we interpret the data. Okay, now we are going to make conclusions. Okay, so a plant will grow well if we water it every day. So water is important for plant growth and their living. Okay, so since we interpret the data as the plant grew and had leaves and flowers. Okay, so after we interpret the data that after planting, you watered the plant for 80 days, the plant grew and had leaves and flowers, we make a conclusion that a plant will grow well if we are going to water them every day. And so we can say that the water is important for plant growth and their living. Okay, so that is how we interpret a data and make a conclusion. Okay. Next. Okay, so we have here an activity. So it is in page 7 of your book. Okay, so match the measuring tools to their functions. Okay, so you have to write down the name, the correct measuring tool here in the blanks. Okay, so let's say, for example, number 1, a blank is used for measuring water. Okay, so what do you think is the correct answer for number 1? What can we use to measure a water? Very good. It's a graduated cylinder. Okay, so for number 1, the answer is graduated cylinder. Okay. All right. Next, number 2. A blank is used for measuring mother's waist. Okay, so what can we use to measure waist? Okay, so very good. The answer for number 2 is tape measure. Okay, so we use this for measuring our waistline. All right. So the answer for number 2 is tape measure. Okay. Right. Number 3. A blank is used for weighing Aunt Nadia. Okay, so what can we use to find out our weight? Very good. We need to use the weight scale. All right. So the answer for number 3 is weight scale. Okay. Right. Number 4. Okay. A blank is used for timing a race. So what are we going to use for timing a race? It's a timer. Okay. So very good. We are going to use timer. All right. And in number 5, a blank is used for measuring the length of a pencil case. So what are we going to use for measuring a length? Okay, we can use a ruler. Okay, so we use ruler to measure a pencil case. Okay, the answer for number 5 is ruler. Okay. So those are the answers for numbers 1 to 5. Okay. All right. So that ends our lesson for this week. Okay. I'll see you again next week. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good day and goodbye.